Woo! What's up, everybody? It's a little early because The Incredibles 2 premiere, to accommodate for children, is at 6 o'clock instead of 7. And it's significantly shorter than most films that adults would see. So, awesome. So, as I said, I just got out of The Incredibles 2 premiere, and oh man, I remember when the first Incredibles came out in 2004. I was 14 at the time. 14 years later, so that's about half my life, right there. I've been waiting for it, so I'm twice as old now, and man, this movie was worth the wait. I'm so happy. I'll just say it right now: secret handshake, because it was that awesome. Most is a lot of fun. I'm so glad that Pixar took their time and they didn't just crank out a sequel just for the heck of it. They did a lot of time. Funny enough, the premiere for The Incredibles 2, they had a little video, probably like a minute video, with the cast and crew just saying, "Look, we know it's been a long time since Incredibles 2 came out," because I'm sure they've gotten millions upon millions of emails and tweets, just saying, to make an Incredibles 2 movie. And so they finally did. So, yeah, they just said, "Calm down, thank you for your patience, we love you, here you go." And man, it was great. Went to the movie tavern, so I had my movie tavern mug with water, because man, it's really hot outside. Yeah, my on the road reviews. Right now, my car has no AC, and I have fans in there that are very loud and noisy. So I just decided to, hey, let's do this on the armchair. So I might just say dinner and a show on the armchair. So look for that new title coming up. But for now, let's get to it. So I'll just name off all the cast members because, man, when I'm doing, unless it's easier to name off the cast members in a DreamWorks movie than a Pixar movie, because Pixar movies, they have notable celebrities, but a lot of them are very, I don't know, just not as well known as, say, a DreamWorks movie. I mean, heck, I don't think Pixar's ever used Will Smith. Yeah, that was probably, yeah, they used him in Shark Tale for DreamWorks. Yeah, that not a good, not a good deal. Anyway, I'm rambling here, so sorry about that. But so you have Craig T. Nelson as Mr. Incredible, Holly Hunter as Elastigirl, Samuel L. Jackson as Frozone, Sarah Vowell as Violet, and Huck Milner as Dash. And then you have some newcomers like Bob Odenkirk as Winston Deaver and Catherine Keener as Winston's sister Evelyn. So, pretty awesome. So this takes place right after the ending of the first Incredibles, with the Underminers. So actually, the Underminers never resolved. They never, they never catch him. But they do stop his machine from from destroying the Capitol or the City Hall building. But once again, they're in trouble by the government because they caused a lot of damage. And insurance is like, "Well, we could have taken care of this, but no, you made things a whole lot worse." So Ted Dicker, who's played by, I think, John Rucker, the bodyguard from Breaking Bad, he or the hitman, he just helps out a little bit with getting the superheroes relocated, but he's retiring because the government shut him down. But that's where Winston Deaver comes in, because he's been a huge advocate for superheroes and he's wanted to get them back on the map. And so he sees this as an opportunity to to gather support for the supers, since they are making a comeback, ever since defeating Syndrome and that robot. And now just this. So they want Elastigirl to be the symbol of their movement. And so while she's doing that, Mr. Incredible is dealing with the kids, adolescents, with Violet and her date with Tony, because that happens, and I forget Tony's actor's name. Dash trying to do homework, and with math. Oh my gosh, I was laughing at that. And then Jack Jack having new powers, or him trying to adapt to the new powers that he has. So man, so they're just dealing with that, and then there's a ultra villain called the Screen Slaver, that's terrorizing people by hypnotizing them and making them do whatever they want. So yeah, you have all that. So hope you understood all that. This was fantastic. This was totally worth the wait. I like how the setting, like they do this in the first Incredibles movie, um, and so this continues that, but it's just more noticeable to me how, and I think they made it more obvious that yes, it's sort of, I guess it's placed in the '60s, but it looks so futuristic at the same time. It's like a futuristic style of the '60s, if that makes any sense. I would like to, I guess an example of that sort of futuristic yet old timey look is Alien, in the second Alien. How the technology, like they're in the future, but the technology is still very of the time that that movie was made. So like Alien was made in like '78, and so of course they had the technology of that time. So it's very, it's very cool. But yeah, I think they did a really good balance of that. Atmosphere was great. Love the colors. Love the animation, of course. Elastigirl has a bike, and there's an action sequence of her stopping a train that was really cool. Uh, that's kind of how you are introduced to the Screen Slaver of how, uh, yeah, because that's the reason why the train was going out of control. But yeah, she stopped that. And there's still some good family drama because that was what the heart of The Incredibles was just the family dynamic. And so I mean, Bob, Mr. Incredible is trying to be a good dad. Uh, he's trying to make things right, but he's in over his head. He needs to call for help, which is fine. I mean, there's no shame in that. And I think Mr. Incredible, had to deal with the fact that Helen, his wife, Elastigirl, is out doing all the superhero stuff, the stuff that he wants to do. He's been wanting to do for years, and he can't because he causes too much damage, and so they wanted Elastigirl instead. So yeah, that was so he's dealing with that. Um, and he just doesn't know if he can do it. If he can just handle all his kids. With math. I love the joke about reinventing math. It's like you can't do that, and apparently you can because they're doing it now, and it's oh my gosh. I'm just glad I'm out of school and I don't have to deal with that. Um, and then he apparently messes everything up with Tony, or with Violet's date with Tony. So that was really just really sad because I'm like I really wanted Violet to, get to, have that date with him, and that just didn't really. Yeah, just there was stuff going on with that. So, yeah, Bob's trying to deal with that. Um, yeah, and then of course with Jack Jack and the new powers, Jack Jack is hilarious. I just loved all of his stuff, and yeah, I think his stuff is probably the funniest. They the animation is of course improved. I mean, it's been 14 years, so they have plenty of time to do that. But I'm glad that they did minor tweaks to the character designs. I mean, you can see them look a little slimmer, or I don't know about slimmer, but just a little more touched up. They don't look as like say plasticky. I mean, I don't. They looked really good in 2004, but you could sort of tell like from the hair, that just the technology was brand new. Here they've definitely mastered the hair and the skin texture and everything like that. I think Tony had the biggest change. Because he looked vastly different, uh, like from the like yes, he has the same design, haircut, and everything like that. Didn't like do major changes, but his face was definitely had a huge, yeah, just a huge redo. It seems. Guess the animation back then just wasn't as kind to his face as it is now. So you have that, but everything else seems intact. I wish that Mr. Incredible had a. I don't know, it's like they made him fatter in this movie. I just found that weird because I mean, I know that he's older, obviously, at least 15 or so years older, but he but he worked out at the gym and sorry, not at the gym. He worked out to become more fit, and it looked like that, and now it looks like that he gained some weight back. Quite a bit of weight back. So that was kind of confusing there, but yeah. So there's that. The villain was really good. I think. I mean, the villain was yeah, it was a good villain. I can't say anything bad about the villain. Not my favorite villain ever. I think out of all the Pixar villains, I love Lotso Bear from Toy Story 3. He was just a uh, diabolical evil bear disguised as a strawberry-smelling teddy bear. Uh, um, but yeah, Screenslaver was great, and I liked this. I mean, the villain had some good motivation behind it, and definitely the battle of philosophies is there. I love that stuff. Um, I don't know. I just found Syndrome to be the more enjoyable hero, and maybe it was just because there was more of Syndrome in the movie than Screenslaver. Screenslaver's time was very limited, I would say. And yeah, so I kind of liked it. I think it kind of took away from just sort of not the flamboyancy, but just kind of the campiness that The Incredibles had. It kind of, like, The Incredibles sort of reminds me of they had a really good balance. I would say it's like the Batman animated series, and like how they perfectly balance like sort of the dark stuff. I mean, because they did have some dark stuff in there in this movie, but it was mostly light and fun and campy. I mean, it's like they're glorifying the '60s comics era, which was very Silver Age and funny. This was like when Batman's Adam West's Batman was in its prime, like from '66 to '68, I believe. And yeah, it was just a bunch of fun. And I think that Screenslaver just wasn't as fun as Syndrome. I kind of liked that, but that you don't want to do the same villain twice. So I understand why they did what they did. I think everyone had a great character arc. I think Frozone was more utilized this movie than in the other one, so that was good. I wish his wife had more. The scene you see in the trailer is pretty much her only line, and that kind of was disappointing. But what can you do? I liked the new characters. That was good. There were a few other new superheroes that come to light, which is great because the Incredibles aren't the only superheroes. Syndrome didn't kill everybody, as one would suspect. Yeah, but there are other superheroes in hiding, and Sophia Bush plays a character called Void. She was pretty cool. They didn't have a whole lot of screen time, but they were cool to see. Yeah, I think this plays out really good. I loved this movie, and like I said in the beginning, I'm going to give this a secret handshake. I will warn parents that this does have a few wordy dirds in it. I think there was even... I'd have to rewatch it again, but I almost thought I heard an S-bomb. Not quite... I'm pretty sure it didn't have it in there, but it very much sounded like it. And so I was like, whoa, wait, what? But yeah, I just wasn't expecting it. So this is like, yeah, the first Pixar movie that you could, like, with legitimate swearing in it. So if that is something that you are sensitive about, or is you find offensive, or don't want your kids to hear, you might want to give this a pass. Um, I think a couple of kids were slightly scared by a few scenes, but not too much. Um, but yeah, and that great music, great soundtrack, great movie, great story. I love the family dynamic is still there, just elevated, and or just it just expands upon what came before it, and it was great. It was fast paced. It was amazing. One of my favorite movies this year, and yeah, I'm excited. So anyway, that's all I have. This is Brian, and until next time, I will see you at the movies.